The first signal, the patrol ship moved slowly across the dark edge of the sector, its silver hull reflecting the light of distant stars. The crew inside were bored. They had scanned hundreds of empty systems before. Nothing ever happened here. No wars, no traffic, only silence. Commander Thrix leaned back in his chair. His four eyes half closed. He hated these patrols. They were long and useless. But suddenly the scanner gave a sharp tone. The sound was different, not like the usual rocks or drifting satellites. This was strong. The technician at the console froze. His claws trembled as he checked the numbers. "Commander, I am reading something strange," he whispered. Thrix opened his eyes fully, his voice sharp. "What is it, a pirate ship? An asteroid?" The technician shook his head slowly. "No, sir, it looks like a vessel, but I cannot identify it." The room grew tense. The crew gathered around the screen. A shape appeared in the scanner's display. It was large, bigger than any common freighter. Its surface seemed broken yet whole, like metal and stone fused together. Energy lines ran across its hull, glowing faintly. "Send me the full scan," Thrix ordered, his voice low. The data flashed on his console, and his heart skipped a beat. The power reading was off the scale. No known ship in the galaxy carried that much raw energy, not even the war fleets of the Council. The navigator whispered nervously, "Sir, maybe it is an old wreck drifting. Maybe a natural phenomenon." Thrix shook his head. "No, look closer. It is moving, not fast, but steady. Like it has a purpose." A chill ran through the crew. Ships in this sector were rare, but unknown ships with impossible energy were something else. Then the hull markings appeared on the screen. Strange lines and symbols, sharp like blades, written in a pattern none of them had seen before. The historian on board leaned forward, his face pale. "Commander, those symbols, they look human." The room went silent. The word echoed like thunder. Humans, the cursed species, the ones erased from history. Legends told of their brutality, their will to survive at any cost. But the Council had declared them gone thousands of years ago. No records, no sightings, no proof of their existence since. Thrix growled, "That is impossible. Humans are extinct." But even as he said it, doubt filled his voice. The readings were real. The symbols were clear. The technician's hands shook as he whispered, "Sir, should we report this? If this really is human, then—" He could not finish his sentence. Before Thrix could answer, the scanner flashed red. The ship was responding. It was scanning them back. Their systems flickered. Lights dimmed for a second. Alarms rang. The alien crew panicked. "It is hacking our systems," someone shouted. But just as suddenly, the light stabilized. The systems returned, and the unknown ship drifted calmly again. No weapons fired, no attack, only silence, and then a voice came through every channel at once, deep, calm, and unmistakably human. It spoke in a language none of the aliens had ever studied, yet somehow every one of them understood the meaning. "We warned you," the voice said, steady like stone. The crew froze, fear spreading like fire. Thrix gritted his teeth. "Message the Council at once, tell them what we found." The historian shook his head in horror. "Commander, do you understand what this means? If this really is human, then the legends are true. They survived, they evolved, and they are back." The technician whispered, "But why here, why now?" No one had an answer. Only silence filled the room outside. The mysterious human ship drifted forward, its hull glowing faintly as if alive. It did not fire, it did not flee. It simply moved with calm power, like a predator walking into its old hunting ground. The alien crew watched helplessly, realizing deep inside that they had just seen the first sign of something far bigger. The first signal of doom. The patrol ship turned and fled, engines burning, carrying the terrifying message across the stars. But even as they ran, they all knew the truth. The moment they had scanned that human ship, the fate of the galaxy had changed forever. Council in panic. The patrol ship's emergency jump ended above the nearest Council station. Its crew shaken and pale. Their report was sent at once, encrypted and marked urgent. Normally such signals were ignored for days, but this one reached the highest level in less than an hour. Inside the grand chamber of the Galaxy Council, the rulers of many species gathered. Tall insectoid lords, scaled emperors, and pale beings of light all argued in loud voices. The air was heavy with fear. "Impossible," shouted Lord Velen of the Draskar Empire, his wings trembling. "The humans are extinct, we erased them." "I saw the records myself," Counselor Ishtar, a scholar from the cold world of Halvan, hissed sharply. "Records can be erased, but legends cannot. Every race remembers them. We only lied to ourselves, and now they return." The chamber fell into silence as the patrol crew was called forward. Their bodies shook as they replayed the scan data. The image of the massive human vessel appeared in the air, glowing lines across its hull. Impossible power readings. The rulers leaned closer, unease written across their faces. One whispered, "That is not an old wreck. That is alive." When the audio transmission was played, the human voice echoed across the chamber. "We warned you." The words were simple, but they carried weight heavier than weapons. Some leaders scoffed. A trick, a fake. But their voices were weak. No one truly believed their own denial. High Chancellor Morvek, a being with a crown of bone and 6 arms, stood slowly. "Send a fleet, confirm this report if humans live. We must know their strength." His words were calm, but his eyes betrayed fear. A young scientist spoke up from the side, her voice thin. "Chancellor, if the readings are true, our fleets will not survive. Their ship drained our systems just by scanning us. What will happen when they fight?" Her warning was ignored. Rulers did not like truth. They preferred control. Still, the fear was spreading. In hidden corners of the chamber, older members whispered, remembering forbidden stories. Tales of wars long ago when humans fought until the stars themselves burned. They remembered how humanity never surrendered, how they adapted, how they turned every weakness into a weapon. Lord Velen slammed his claw on the table. "Even if they live, we are not weak. We are united now. Our fleets outnumber theirs. We will crush them." But his voice cracked. The historian from the patrol ship finally spoke, his eyes wide with terror. "You do not understand. They are not the same humans we exiled. These ships are new, sharper, faster, beyond anything in our archives. They have been building in silence while we laughed. While we ruled." The chamber erupted into shouting again. Some demanded war. Others demanded peace. A few demanded silence outside the chamber. Across the council worlds, whispers spread like fire. The humans are back. Citizens panicked. Trade routes slowed. Temples filled with frightened prayers. Even smugglers refused to fly near the outer rim. The fleet was prepared in haste. Thousands of ships fueled and armed. The largest armada in centuries. They would go and see this ghost ship themselves. Prove it real or false, but not everyone agreed. A secret message was sent from one council member to another. It read, "If the humans live, we are doomed. Do not anger them. Find a way to talk or to kneel." Back in the patrol ship's quarters, the crew sat in silence. None could sleep. The technician whispered to his commander, "Sir, why did the humans say we warned you? What did they mean?" Thrix had no answer. He only stared out at the stars. He knew deep down, the humans had not just returned by chance. They had chosen this moment, and whatever their warning meant, it was already too late, and far beyond the council's reach. In the shadows of forgotten systems, more signals were awakening, more human ships rising from their long silence, like predators opening their eyes after a long sleep. The galaxy was stirring, but only the humans knew why. The forgotten history. The council chamber grew restless, every voice trying to rise above the other. Fear and anger mixed in the air like poison. It was then that the archivist of the council, Elder Saran, asked for silence. His voice was not loud, but it carried weight. He was one of the few beings old enough to remember whispers of the first war with humanity. His skin was lined, his eyes dim, but his memory was sharp. "You all argue in blindness," he said. "But I have read the forbidden scrolls, the records buried in the deep vaults. I know what you fear to admit." The chamber hushed. Even the loudest rulers turned to listen. Saren lifted a thin tablet, glowing with ancient script. "Long before your empires rose, there was a war, not between neighbors, not between rivals, but between the council and the humans. They were fewer, weaker in numbers, but they fought with something none of us understood. They fought with will." A cold silence followed his words. He continued, his voice trembling. "When the council armies pushed them back, we expected surrender. But humanity never surrendered. They adapted. Every defeat became their lesson. Every loss their weapon. Their ships changed faster than we could destroy them. Some rulers hissed, others shifted uncomfortably. At the end, Saren said, we did not defeat them. Not truly, we offered them exile. We spread the lie that they were gone, extinct, to calm our people. But the truth was different. The humans walked away, beyond the borders, into the dark, and we prayed they would never return." A heavy dread settled in the chamber. The younger leaders stared in disbelief. "You lied," one whispered, "all this time. The council told us they were gone." The elder lowered his head. "Yes, Because the truth was worse, we feared that if they survived, they would come back stronger. The projection of the scanned human ship still floated in the air above them, its strange sharp hull glowing faintly, proof that humanity had indeed survived. Lord Velen slammed his claws on the table again. Old tales, nothing more. We are stronger now. We have fleets that span the stars. Humans cannot stand against us. But his voice lacked conviction. The scientist from the patrol ship spoke up, her hands shaking. My lord, you do not understand. Their single ship drained our systems. Imagine a fleet of such vessels. We would not stand a chance, the counselors murmured. Fear spreading like cracks in glass, Saran's eyes darkened. The humans do not fight wars the way we do. They do not count battles in ships lost or won. They count it in survival. And survival makes them dangerous. More dangerous than any empire. At that moment, a messenger drone entered carrying new data. Another human signal had been detected. Not one ship, but three, rising from the corona of a dying star, their hulls glowing with silent fire. The counselors gasped, some cried out, panic spreading fast. Chancellor Morvek struggled to keep order. We will send diplomats, we will send offers. Surely they can be reasoned with, but his voice shook. Even he did not believe the words, the historian whispered, almost to himself. Reason with humans. You may try, but remember, they do not forget. They do not forgive. In distant colonies, news spread faster than the council could control. Ordinary citizens asked questions their rulers could not answer. Temples began chanting prayers against human return. Smugglers closed their routes. Even mercenary fleets vanished into hiding. And in the quiet of his private chamber, Elder Siren wrote in his secret journal, "We thought history was finished, but history has teeth. And now it comes to bite us beyond the rim." The three human ships drifted together, silent and calm, yet their presence weighed heavier than 1,000 fleets. They did not fire, they did not rush, they simply moved with patience, as if the galaxy itself belonged to them. The forgotten history was no longer forgotten. It was awake and it was coming. First contact, the fleet of the council moved through the void like a wall of steel. Thousands of ships shining with blue and gold lights, their banners stretched across the stars. It was the largest armada in centuries, built to crush fear itself. Commanders of many species sat in their chairs with grim faces. Their orders were clear. Approach the human vessels. Demand surrender, show no weakness. As they neared the dead star, silence filled the channels. The human ships were waiting. Three dark shapes against the burning corona, their hulls sharp and unnatural, glowing with lines that pulsed like veins. Lock scanners, ordered Admiral Selvek, his voice firm though his hands trembled. Data streamed into the fleet's systems, but then alarms erupted. Screens filled with red warnings. Systems failing, shouted a technician. They are scanning us back. Engines flickered. Shields dropped. Targeting systems crashed. It was as if the human ships were not being scanned, but were scanning into the heart of every vessel, peeling open secrets layer by layer. Panic spread across the fleet. Captains shouted, some demanded retreat, others demanded attack, but no weapon could lock, no missile could arm. The fleet had become blind, and then the human ships lit up. Not with weapons, but with sound. A voice came across every channel. Calm, deep, and filled with something alien yet familiar. You should have remembered, the voice said. It was not loud, but every commander felt it in their bones, as if the words were carved into their minds. Admiral Selvek forced his voice steady. This is the Council fleet. Identify yourselves, state your purpose, we come with authority. A pause. Then the voice returned, colder now. Authority. You speak of authority, but authority is built on lies, on the silence of those you erased. We are the silence no longer. The fleet shivered, entire crews holding their breath. Suddenly, one human ship drifted closer, slow and deliberate, like a predator stepping out of the shadows. Its hull reflected the fire of the dying star, its markings sharp and unreadable. Open fire, shouted a panicked captain, but his weapons refused. Screens flashed system override in the flagship. Admiral Selvek slammed his fist on the console. They are inside our systems. How is this possible? But no answer came. Instead, another voice filled the channel, softer but sharper than blades. You erased our history, but you could not erase us. We remember every war, every betrayal, every exile. We warned you, and now we return. The words spread through the fleet like poison. Some captains broke down, others screamed in rage. But no one dared to attack. Then something stranger happened. The human ship broadcasted a projection into space itself, a shimmering image that stretched across the void. It showed scenes from long ago. Council armies burning human colonies, exiling survivors into the dark, and then silence. Every alien commander saw it, every crew member felt it. The forgotten history brought back to life, and then the projection changed, showing not exile, but rebirth. Humans building ships in hidden places, forging weapons in silence, preparing, always preparing. The admirals of the fleet stared in horror, realizing this was not the past. This was the truth, Admiral Selvek whispered. Almost broken. They never died, they never forgot. The 3 human ships slowly turned, engines glowing with a soft fire. They did not attack. They did not chase. They simply moved away, deeper into the stars, leaving the fleet paralyzed in silence. But the message was clear. This was not mercy. It was a warning in the flagship. One young officer looked at his admiral, her voice trembling. Sir, if 3 ships can do this, what happens when we see 100? Selvek had no answer. His heart was heavy. He knew this was not the end. It was only the first contact, and somewhere in the deep void, hidden fleets of humanity were stirring. Countless ships awakening, waiting for the moment to reveal themselves. The galaxy had thought itself strong, but in that first contact, they understood they were already doomed. The collapse begins. 800 words. The Council fleet returned broken not by battle but by silence. Thousands of ships limped back into their ports, their crews pale and shaken. No shots had been fired, no missiles launched, yet every commander knew they had lost. News spread faster than light, carried by whispers, by smugglers. By frightened merchants, the humans are back. Planets that once laughed at the old legends now trembled. Markets froze. Trade routes collapsed. No one wanted to fly into the dark where the human ships had been seen. On the Council's core worlds, citizens filled the streets, demanding answers, but their rulers had none. Their voices grew louder each day. Temples of different species began chanting prayers of protection. Some even sacrificed animals to gods long forgotten, begging them to shield their worlds from human return. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the humans controlled gravity itself. Others claimed their ships were alive, grown from flesh and metal, able to think faster than any council computer. One rumor said that a single human vessel had destroyed an entire fleet without firing a single weapon, only with its presence in hidden bars and smoke-filled corners. Smugglers told stories of ships vanishing into shadows, of human voices whispering through static, offering promises, threats, or nothing at all. And every story ended the same. The humans always left calm and patient, as if they were not hunting but waiting. Within the council chambers, the rulers turned against one another. Some demanded war, building more fleets, preparing new weapons. Others demanded surrender before it was too late. And a few whispered in secret, planning to kneel when humanity revealed its true power. Admiral Selvek, who had faced the first contact, sat alone in his quarters, his face hollow. He had replayed the encounter 100 times, trying to understand, trying to see weakness, but he found none. 3 ships had reduced his great armada to trembling silence. What would happen when more arrived? He whispered to himself. We are fighting shadows, and shadows cannot be killed across the galaxy. Systems began to break down. Colonies refused to pay taxes to the Council, saying the Council could not protect them. Outer Rim worlds armed themselves, preparing for the return of human fleets. Mercenary companies disappeared into hiding. No one wanted to face what was coming in the midst of this chaos. Strange signals began appearing. Short bursts of encrypted transmissions, always the same phrase hidden inside them. We have awakened each time the message appeared. Fear followed. Ships deserted their posts. Stations shut down. Entire trade networks collapsed overnight. The collapse was not only political or military, it was psychological. The galaxy no longer believed in its own strength. Rulers argued, citizens panicked. Fleets crumbled, and in the silence of space, humanity moved unseen. A historian whispered to his students in the archives, "Do you not see this is not war? This is something worse. They are unmaking us, breaking the galaxy without firing a single shot." In a council session, Lord Velen shouted in rage, "This is madness. They are only one species, we are thousands. United we are strong." But his voice shook, and no one truly believed him anymore. Chancellor Morvek tried to speak of peace, of negotiation, but no human answered their calls. No envoy returned, no ambassador came. The silence was louder than war drums. And far from the Council's eyes, deep in the void, entire constellations flickered as more human ships emerged, their hulls glowing with silent fire, drifting calmly as if the stars themselves bowed before them in one outer rim colony. A child looked at the night sky and saw 3 new stars. Moving slowly, she pointed and asked her father, "What are those?" The father shivered, pulling her inside. "Do not look at them, those are not stars. Those are the Watchers." The collapse had begun, not with explosions, not with fire, but with fear. And fear was stronger than any weapon. And as the galaxy trembled, the humans did nothing but wait, patient as the void, knowing that their silence was enough to make empires fall.